Okay, in this video we're going to work on volume of a triangular prism. We're going to do a couple of examples. As always, we use our same 5 steps. Write the formula, draw and label the base, calculate capital letters, plug in values for variables, and solve FBCPS. Falling behind creates problems for students. So as you can see here, there's a picture of a triangular prism, as there is right here. We've got them labeled with our dimensions already. So let's just go through the steps. Write the formula. You're going to come over here to your formula chart, look at volume, prism. Since we're talking about a triangular prism, it's still a prism. Our formula is capital B times H. So I'm going to write my formula. Capital B times H. Always start with your formula. Second is to draw and label the base. Well, because we're talking about a triangular prism, my base is a triangle. So I have to draw a triangle, and then I've got to label it. Okay, look at our dimensions up here. This dotted line down the center, that's your height of the triangle. We've got our base of the triangle, that's this dimension right here. And it gives us another dimension associated with the triangle, and that's this one right here. That is referring to the side length. So we've got the base of 5, we've got the height of 7, and we've got a side length of 8. Okay, so we've got our base drawn and labeled. Calculate capital letters. Okay, well, our formula has a capital B, which we all know stands for the area of the base. So now I have to calculate the area of the base. Well, how do you do that? It is totally different than a rectangle that we've already worked on, so let's come over here to our area formulas. Area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So 1/2 base times height. Now, when I say base times height, what base am I referring to? What height am I referring to? Come up here and look at your base. I'm highlighting my base. And I know some of you guys are like, Ms. Casey, that's not what your shape is sitting on. How can that be your base? How can the triangles be your base if that's not what it's sitting on? The definition of a base in a prism says that they are congruent and they are parallel. Look at your rectangles in this figure. You got a rectangle slanted this way, you got a rectangle slanted that way, and then you got one on the bottom. All of those rectangles intersect with each other. If they intersect, they're not parallel. This triangle in the back and this triangle in the front, those are parallel. They will never touch each other, and they are congruent, which means they are equal. So that is your bases. Your triangles are your bases. Just because it's sitting on a rectangle does not necessarily mean it is your base. Okay? So we're calculating the area of the base. We're calculating capital letters. So we've got to find the area of this triangle. So this formula right here, it is only talking about the triangle. So we are going, what is 1/2 of the base? Well, take a look at this. Here's our base of our triangle. So we've got 1/2 of 5. And what's my height of the triangle? Your height always makes a right angle with the base. Always. Always, always, always. So my height is 7. Now, look at this. Our formula says 1/2. It's already a number. Base, which is 5, and height, which is 7. We didn't even use the 8. 8 refers to the side length of the triangle. Our formula does not call for side length, so we don't use it. Sometimes they do give you numbers that you're not going to use. They do that to see, do you know what the base of the triangle is? Do you know what the height of the triangle is? If you try to use 8, you really don't know what the formula is asking for. Okay? So if we take 1/2 of 5, that's 2.5 times 7. 2.5 times 7, well, we got to do the work. So our area of the base is equal to 17.5. Okay, this is referring to our capital letters. So we just calculated our capital letters. Now we've got to plug in values for variables. Volume equals capital B, area of the base times height. The area of the base, we just calculated it, is 17.5. So volume is equal to 17.5 times, and then it says H. Well, we just used an H, didn't we? Is that the same H? Think about that for a second. What are we calculating here? We're calculating the volume of the prism. So we need the height of the prism. Your height connects your two bases. You see how my triangle right here in the back, and then I have a triangle here in the front? My height connects the two bases. My height of the prism is 6. Imagine if this were sitting on its triangle. If this were tipped up and the triangle was on the bottom and the triangle was on the top. This 6 would be connecting your top to your bottom, and that is your height. That is the height that's referring to. 17.5 times 6. So you see how it can get a little confusing. We've got a base of a triangle and a height of a triangle, but then we've got area of the base of our prism and then height of the prism. You always have to know, what are you looking for? What is this formula asking you for? Well, to find the volume, it's the area of this base times height. So we need the height of the prism. So now we just got to do the work. I have one decimal place in there. So there's our volume. Volume is equal to 105 centimeters cubed. Okay, let's do our other example. Triangular prism. I'm going to highlight my base. What is the base? Is it this rectangle it's sitting on? No, because that rectangle intersects with that rectangle, which intersects with that rectangle. My base is the triangle because there are two of them. They're opposite, they're congruent, they're parallel. That is my base, that triangle. Step number 1, write the formula. Step number 2, draw and label the base. My base is a triangle. And I'm just getting these numbers from the diagram given to me right up here. So we've written the formula, we've drawn and labeled the base, calculate capital letters. Well, the capital letter I have here is capital B, which is area of the base, and our base happens to be a triangle, so I need the area of a triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. 1/2, the base is 9. The height is 6. So 1/2 of 9 is 4.5 times 6. Let's do the work. So the area of my base is equal to 27. Okay, what's my next step? I've just calculated the capital letter. Now I've got to plug in values for variables. Capital B is 27. Height of my prism. Remember, height connects the two bases. Here's a triangle and here's a triangle. What connects my two triangles? 4 centimeters. So, area of the base times height. So let's do the work. So the volume of this triangle is 108 centimeters cubed. And that's it.